Lagos, Baba Ibrahim, who is a trader and chief executive officer at Main Street Securities, and live from our Abuja studios, Ogo Okiti, economist and chief executive officer at Time Economics. Both of them wrapping up the program for us this morning. 5 minutes. Let's start from Abuja, where Ogo Okiti has been hanging in there for. Did you get that cup of coffee or tea?
Okay. It was not necessary.
It wasn't. Yes. Yeah, you've got a lot of GDP to choose, so I'm not sure you can afford a cup of coffee now. You got everything adrenaline pumping, not with MPC later in the afternoon. So you listen to Dr. Yebekale. What's your take on everything he says?
Yes. No, I think his assessment was fair because if you look at where we are coming from since 2014, it's been terrible. It's been disastrous. I mean, in terms of the climb down from the 6% economic growth of 2014 up to the time that we entered recession. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, while we are seeing signs of improvement, we cannot even expect to see growth in the region of 2-3% later in the year. So this is a long haul. Yes, we have started to see progress, but this is not the time to think that we are back to where we are in 2014. So I think that assessment was very fair. Yes.
Fair assessment. Dr. Okiti, thank you very much. Baba Ibrahim, he says it was a fair assessment from the Statistician General. You think it's a very fair assessment?
Yes.
Of the state of the economy?
Absolutely. The World Bank, vis-a-vis the IMF, did forecast that Nigerian economy is going to grow by between 0.8 to 1%. Yeah, in 2017, and given the fact that we're seeing a retraction of about 0.55358 for the first quarter, and given the fact that we're coming from a very tortuous, difficult environment past year, it clearly shows that if the gains are sustained, we will likely in the Q2 and Q3, of course, down to Q4, the figures should turn into the positive territory. I think it's achievable that we could actually run up to 0.6, 0.7 growth potential. That's my take.
You are that optimistic?
Very optimistic.
Where would you want the government to spend money, put a lot of fiscal activities?
Well, I think quite clearly what the government needs to do, even if it has to run deficits in the budget, is to run massively on infrastructure. That's what we need to do. Because the foreign investors are actually looking at how well our rail system is working, how well our roads network is, how well our power sector is functioning. So those issues are actually on the foreburner and they need to be addressed conclusively. With that, I think the government will not go wrong. Of course, with the focus on agriculture, I think we have a proper mix.
Well, we appreciate that, your comment. Okiti in Abuja, Okiti, wrap it for us. Give us about 30 seconds of your thoughts moving forward.
I think I would like to conclude by saying I look forward to the MPC decisions this afternoon. If, as we expect, there is no change in the MPR at 14%, I think that will be welcome. And then it will ensure that for the rest of the year, we begin to conclude the progress we've made on stability, until we begin to see stronger data and improvement in the figures that will give us the kind of growth that we want later in the year. But I think in the meantime, the most important thing is that we have that stability. We have achieved that in the foreign exchange, and I hope that continues. We have started to see decline in the rate of inflation, even though it's still high. I think we need to maintain the MPR at 14% as a precautionary measure, and then we'll see what happens to growth figures in the second, third, and fourth quarter of the years.
Ogokiti of Time Economics, thank you very much for your time today from Abuja studios. Do have a great day. And Baba Ibrahim here in Lagos, the trader and chief executive officer at Main Street Securities, will be all over the MPC from 1:30 this afternoon. A very special edition of Business Incorporated with our panel of studio discussants here, the analysts and investment folks talking to us. That will be 1:30 till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll be back at that time. Do have a great morning.